Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by True Value, with the tools, products, and advice to start your projects right. True Value. Start right. Start here. And by Audi. The truth is out. It's powerful, and it's available at your Audi dealer now. Audi. Truth in engineering. This is the 10th round of the 11-round American Le Mans Series for 2008 as we check in with our race-leading car. This is Lucas Luhr, recently crowned P1 champion. He has won championships in the ALMS in 3 classes, GT2, P2, and now the big one. Drama's here for the 18 VC Racing Porsche. Drama's on the left rear.
But he's close to pit in right here. He's got to make this right-hand corner, and he'll be right on the pit lane. So fortunate for him that this flat tire occurred somewhere near pit in. Looks just like a regular puncture to me. He's lucky that carcass hasn't come up, although he's trying.
Here we go, back to racing. Lengthy caution period over and out. That's the 8th done. Green flies for Lucas Luhr. Sarrazin, the pole man, is chasing him down. And there is Dindo Capello. This is as close as the one car has been. It was as far back as a minute behind the race lead, so that caution helped.
Well, we see Dindo Capello staying out. We did hear some radio communication between the crew and Dindo that on the last pit stop, they found some strange material inside the right rear wheel. So they're wondering if there's any kind of suspension issue. Remember, and here we see another car. I was just going to talk about McNish's crash in the installation lap. Now we see the 15 car off ahead and a tremendous run here. Luis Diaz behind the wheel.
Okay.
Cold tires, remember.
We have seen several instances over the weekend of cold tire crashes on the outlap on a restart. This is another. Might have got lucky here, boys. No, he didn't. Right rear damage, pretty good.
Big damage. What a shame. These guys just can't catch a break. They've been very competitive, knocking on the door all season long.
That's going to make a mess on the way back.
Yeah,
While we're talking about a mess, that caution we were just under was that long because they cleaned this racetrack up. My hat's off to him for making that decision.
Here's the replay of Luis Diaz. What happened? Was he helped?
Traffic involved there, one of the Taffel cars. Let's take a look on board with Luis Diaz as he climbs the hill. Clears the Panos. Then there's the 73 Ferrari overtook. Yeah, and he got tagged. 73 Ferrari to his left flank dorsey as he turned into turn 3.
Turn 3 is totally blind, uphill corner. You don't see the corner until you're over the brow of the hill. And you're looking into the sun again at this time of the day, right in that corner.
Tough to get the perspective there where the Luis moved over a little bit. I mean, these cars can't vanish and disappear. You got to give those slower GT2 cars some room to get through the corner as well. Can't really lay the blame on anyone at this point.
And on cold tires, it doesn't take any kind of a contact whatsoever to get your turn.
And while this is going on, Stefan Sarrazin has taken over the lead of the race in the Peugeot 908. Stretching the legs over the 2 Audis. Luhr, Capello, top 3. Briscoe is 4th overall in the lead, P2 ahead of Timo Bernard and Frank Montagny for the AGR team. Then Patrick Long. Let's go back and show you how Sarrazin, the former F1 and World Rally driver, got the lead of Petit Le Mans.
Horsepower. Down the straightaway we go.
There he comes. These guys hitting close to 200 miles an hour here down the back stretch. Just moves it to the inside and take the lead away.
We've seen that the Peugeot has those legs. It has straightaway speed, no question about it.
They have boasted they have the fastest sports car in the world. Is it the most reliable? 1,000 miles is the playing field here today, and we will find out as we go and race into the dark here at Road Atlanta whether this car, the Peugeot Sport 908, will be the car. We've got the president and CEO, the boss, with us right now. We'll talk more with Scott Atherton when we come back. Racing into the night. The 2008 Petit Le Mans continues here, round 10 of the American Le Mans Series 2008. Overall race leader is the Frenchman, Stefan Sarrazin, and running away, putting seconds between he and Lucas Luhr, the newly crowned ALMS P1 champion. Let's talk Green Challenge for a moment. We still have Scott Atherton, the president and CEO of the American Le Mans Series, with us, and it is the 6 Penske that leads the way. American Porsche factory driver Patrick Long behind the wheel of that car. In fact, it's 3 Porsches in the top 3 in the prototype category. It's nicely divided. Prototypes, we don't distinguish between P1 or P2 in the Green Challenge. And then GT cars, 2 Corvettes and an Aston Martin. Scott, you had 3 trial runs with the Green Challenge. This is the one for real. This is your worldwide debut. Have you got some feedback from the staff? What are your impressions? Are you pleased that it's debuted here at Petit Le Mans?
Well, the feedback right now is that it is going absolutely to plan. The technology, the telemetry that IMSA is using to monitor these cars has worked flawlessly. I think there's probably some surprises up there, some assuming that a clean diesel or an E85 example would automatically win. I think you're seeing the byproduct of a direct injection engine that's being incredibly fuel efficient that is rising to the top right now.
These are the Porsches that we're talking about with that direct fuel injection.
Ryan Briscoe leading this man, Timo Bernhard, who's hoping to clinch the championship here today. We believe he'll do it. The top 3 finish, but look at the 26 car. Frank Montani right behind him, going to put the pressure on these boys. It seems like the Penske's have had a little bit more straightaway speed all day long. High downforce setup, I believe, on the Acura, Dorsey.
That might pay dividends when it gets colder tonight, too, because we're going to start losing track grip out there as the temperature starts to drop. We're going to lose the daylight here shortly.
Look at how busy it is. And remember, there's a manufacturer's fight going on in P2 between Porsche and Acura. Now, while Acura has lost 2 of its big teams, 2 of its star teams, Montagny is still flying the flag for Acura and AGR.
That is the key. They have a 4-point advantage coming into today. Oh, very tight there as the 61 swings across. Timo snucks it down a gear. He accelerates up the hill. It's still tight there. The 007 now he has to negotiate. Then the GT40, the 40 machine off to the left side on the dirty part of the racetrack course.
Going 3 wide around the outside of the S's. That's downforce.
Riding with Timo Bernhard, points leader in P2, defending P2 Series champion.
He had to make that pass other than get stuck behind them all the way through. Now watch when he turns right here. Sun right in your face in a brake zone, a viable brake zone.
And still execute a move.
Scott, you've seen a lot of the drivers come up through the ranks. Certainly Timo had great success in GT2. He's a gentleman. He's one of the stars of the American Le Mans Series right now.
Absolutely, and we were talking about the drivers earlier today, and his name came up as someone who must just run a race on pure adrenaline, because he rips off qualifying lap after qualifying lap, 6-7 hours into the race.
That's physical stamina, I'll tell you that much, because these guys are really enduring a lot of G-force as they run these cars at near 10/10ths for the entire event.
Good to see the 30 Intersport Lola continuing to run. It's been a troublesome day for the Intersport team. The 37 has retired. The 30 is still running. American Le Mans Series racing, all about 4 classes on the track at the same time. You're looking at it right here with the variety, all mixing it up. Traffic heavy. What an understatement.
See Pat Long now joining the party as well. That's the 3rd of the yellow cars in the picture. There he is, just gone through the apex of 5. Frank Montani gets around that GT2 traffic. Can he take advantage there? Slices back to the inside. Timo did a great job there, Dorsey. He has to be patient and get these points here today.
We used to call that low percentage passing, but you can't call it that anymore because the tables are turned. These prototype cars have so much downforce. The closing rate is such great compared to a GT car. The GT cars are braking for the corners. These cars are not braking for the corners. You're forced into a situation of having to get the job done.
The ACO, Scott, released their rules going forward, 2009 beyond recently. How are we placed here with IMSA in the American Le Mans Series now that Corvette has announced that they will do 3 races next year and then switch to GT2? I guess the question I'm asking is, where do we stand GT1-wise?
I think at this point with Corvette's decision, the reality is that GT1 appears to be going away, to be blunt about it. We will continue to live with the ACO and feature the 4th-class system if there's a viable 4th class. If not, then we are actually very pleased with a single GT category. And when you know and recognize that BMW is entering the series as of the beginning of next year, with Corvette evolving into GT2, joining Ferrari, Panos, and of course Porsche. I mean, it's going to be incredibly tall cotton there.
We really appreciate your time, as we do each and every year here at Petit Le Mans. I know you haven't spoken to many people today.
I'm quite enjoying watching the race, to be honest with you. This is the first time today I've had a chance to sit down. This is entertaining.
Well, we won't ask you any more questions. We do appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Good luck at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, and enjoy the off-season.
Thank you very much.
All right, time to squeeze in a quick break. We need to go away just for a moment. You can really see how things are changing here night-wise. I want to remind you about the ballot opening up for the annual From the Fans and the Most Popular Driver Awards. They're underway. It ends tomorrow night at midnight, and you can play a role. Go to AmericanLeMans.com and make your vote count. There are your 4 respective class leaders. This one is far from done. Can Peugeot spoil the Audi party? Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Acura, Acura Advance, and by Michelin, a better way forward. Speaking of going forward, that's exactly what Stefan Sarrazin is doing. Race leader, we welcome you back here to Petit Le Mans at Road Atlanta. Lee Diffie along with Calvin Fish and Dorsey Schrader, Brian Till, Chris Neville and Jamie Howe is the gang here in Georgia. What a race we have got going on in 3 of the 4 classes. Unbelievable. We turn the attention to GT2. Mark Lieb and Mika Salo going hard at it. Lieb, who finished runner-up this year, tied runner-up in the Le Mans Series in Europe, fending off the former F1 driver.
Well, a few laps ago, we saw Mika Salo make the move on Jörg Bergmeister down into that brake zone. I say the significant thing is now we are past the 70% mark. I think the Flying Lizard boys will go for the victory now, Dorsey. Points are kind of in the bag. They can still lose a few, but they have a massive lead. So right now, let's go for victory.
Yeah, Mika Salo was not happy with the handling on that Ferrari earlier. Talking about it being so loose, he thought he was going to crash into the wall. But they've switched drivers. Now Jamie Mello in the car. Obviously, they fixed it, tuned it up. Whatever they had to get done is done. The car's not loose now.
Hey, and remember the history between these 2 teams.
Yeah, I remember Sebring. That was awesome stuff. Funny how you always seem to get 2 teams who end up at the top of the heap. And even though Reese have had a disappointing season in the American Le Mans Series, they are still week in, week out, one of the strongest cars on the racetrack. And Jamie Mello is possibly the fastest guy out there.
And the man that Jamie is chasing, Mark Lieb, has enjoyed victory on so many platforms, whether it be here in North America, whether it be at Le Mans. You know what a serious young man he is. He did not compete at the 24 Hours of Le Mans this year when he had the opportunity because he wanted to finish his studies. He is one of the world's best Porsche 911 sports car drivers, yet he was focused on completing his education, getting his mechanical engineering degree, so he had something to go back to after racing. He may not need to. He can just keep on racing, but that's kind of what a focused young guy he is.
You know, arguably GT2 gives us the best, closest racing all the time. Then you add to it the Corvettes going in there, and of course Rahaal's BMWs. I can't imagine it being much more competitive than it is.
Oh, Mello's close. Lieb defends. He takes the shallow entry. Mello is now looking for a way by. He's forcing the issue, Dorsey.
Yeah, he won't have anywhere to go with it for right now, but making his intentions known, that's for sure.
Jamie has made, and by his own admission, it took him a while to admit it, by his own admission, made some silly moves this year, most notably Sebring and at Salt Lake City in Utah that ended in a DNF on both occasions for the Risi Ferrari. They do not want that to happen. And check out who is coming in the background. Dominic Farnbacher in the Tafel Ferrari. It's going to be a 3-way battle.
Boy, it looks like Farnbacher's the fastest of those 3 cars.
He is a lap down right now,
right,
so he's going to try and get ahead of these guys, try and catch a break, maybe getting split by an overall leader in a pace car situation. He moves to the right side of the track. He sees that faster prototype car coming. Smart move there.
Might be able to use that to his advantage too. If that prototype gets inside these guys, which it looks like it will down in the brake zone.
Dominic Farnbacher, one of the studs of the series right now. He's always got a big smile on his face, and I spoke to Tony Dow, technical director, and he just said he has really got serious this year, loves his racing, loves to have fun, but he is fast.
The P2 boys are pushing their way through the GT2 competitors. Ryan Briscoe still leads that class by a few seconds over this man here, his teammate Timo Bernard, and Frank Montagny is third for Andretti Green Racing. And Bernard showing patience there ahead of behind Mello, just waiting to get through the S's, or does he? No, I can squeeze through here on the bottom end of the S's, heading up into turn 5.
Prototypes have enough sorry, Calvin. The downforce on prototypes allow them to make those outside passes.
You notice there on the entry to turn 5, he didn't run right underneath the Lizard car. He gave him a gap so he could accelerate through the apex and pass him easily coming off the corner. That's the key. You've got to get into a rhythm there with the gapping of the cars in front of you. Of course, the patience factor is a little bit easier right now with the fact that the 9 car is out of this event and he's getting in the late stage. He knows he's going to score a bag of points here today and increase that championship lead that they walked into the day with.
That P2 traffic made life a little easier for Mark Lieb. See the gap now between he and this man here, Jamie Mello, and Dominic Farnbacher trying to get round his fellow Ferrari driver, get up with that yellow windshield stripe of the Flying Lizard Porsche and get his lap back. Another yellow will fly. That's almost a guarantee. He may be able to come back around and be in this by the end.
Well, they need to get back on that lead lap. They can't afford to lose points to Wolf Hensler and Jörg Bergmeister here today. They've got to perform some kind of miracle here with a strategy. Get back on that lead lap with the other GT2 cars.
Updating you with the overall status of the race. Peugeot's Stefan Sarrazin is 11 seconds ahead of Lucas Luhr. And there he is right there in the Peugeot 908, the diesel-powered machine. We did have another coupe in this race, and that was the Mazda, the BP-sponsored Mazda coupe of BK Motorsports. However, it was heavily damaged in this morning's warm-up. Gerardo Bonilla at the wheel, and that was just devastation for BK Motorsports. So excited with the debut of that beautiful new Lola.
Saw John Doonan here just by our TV booth just a couple of hours ago. Devastation is really an understatement. They just can't believe it. Remember, they had the crash right before the 12 hours of Sebring. They got the car to the grid after a heavy repair, but fuel cell was leaking. Didn't see the green there. Had such high expectations today with the debut of that coupe. And Gerardo Bonilla, unfortunately, had a massive crash in this morning's warm-up.
We constantly talk about traffic and the closing rates and just how everybody has to play happily in this big playpen. Take a look at this, the difference between GT2 and the leader.
Wow. Gotta be fun, Dorsey.
You know, you said it right, Calvin. There's 2 classes, there's 4 classes running, but when you catch a GT car, regardless of class, and you're a prototype car, you have to do the ebb and flow. You have to analyze, can I get by him before he turns into the corner? Should I lift to make that happen? Or, you know, you got to keep your momentum up somehow, and both of you can work together.
See how dark it's getting in the S's. On the short chute up towards turn 6. Splash of sunshine here, right through the windshield. And then the shadows take effect on the back straight, heading down towards turns 9, 10A and 10B. It's a characteristic of this wonderful event, racing into the night, fireworks at the end when the checkered flag flies. Will Mello have enough here in the braking zone? He has bridged the gap, looking for the lead of the GT2 class, Ferrari versus Porsche, and Mello gets it, makes it stick. New race leader in GT2.
Maximum attack. Here comes Farnbacher. How aggressive will he be here on lead down into turn 12? No.
These are the 2 teams fighting for the championship win in GT2. That blue and white Ferrari needs to get by the Porsche, then needs to get past the red Risi Ferrari to be back on the same lap. We're far from done. It is possible.
And the red Risi Ferrari is headed into the sunset.
The Andretti Green boys hard at work. Frank Montagny is still doing a wonderful job. He is 3rd in P2, chasing class leader Ryan Briscoe. There's been a variety of winners this year across the classes. Farnbacher Lowells enjoyed their 1 win.
Farnbacher Lowells, this team, the 87 machine, looking for their first victory in the American Le Mans Series.
Here we go! Oh! Salo gets boxed big time!
That's
that
Harrison Briggs in the 61 car. Werner looks to the inside, pushes it through. What a move by Dirk Werner, takes the lead in GT2. Can Salo respond? He pushes to the inside, total commitment to the inside. Can he get a turn? No, he loses the rear end. Too late on the brakes for Mika Salo.
Here he comes.
Two superstars coming up on Wind Tunnel tomorrow night at 9 p.m. What a show it is going to be, with James Stewart, reigning AMA Motocross champion, announcing his move to Yamaha, to L&M Yamaha, and of course 4-time Sprint Cup champion Jeff Gordon. Super show. Join Dave Despain 9 Eastern tomorrow night. As always, Wind Tunnel on Sunday nights. And yes, this is true. These were actually seen here at Road Atlanta this weekend.
Nice dance, man.
Hey, how did old Robin end up on top? Dave's the host of the show. He's the man.
That's right.
You know, well, now you know who paid for the shirt.
Huh? Dodgy old Robin slipping in there in his track pants. We're back, and we are back with a very powerful Peugeot. Boys, what are your thoughts on how they've conducted their race strategy thus far?
I think they've been very smart. I think that there had to have been a directive down from management to their drivers in terms of do not take any chances. This has been a season where they've shown tremendous speed, but we haven't brought home the silverware, and they have been very conservative in traffic. Their pit stops haven't been that quick, but right now they're out front and they've got a clean race car.
Yeah, Cal, Peugeot having just a great race here this weekend. And as you guys have been talking about the greening of racing, their plan next year at Le Mans is to try and have that third Peugeot be the hybrid car with the KERS technology on there. Their drivers being able to use that extra horsepower that they can generate off the braking in 3 different ways, either push to pass or just accelerating harder as they're coming out of the corners after they've gained that horsepower, or also fuel consumption. They're estimating that they can gain about 80 horsepower and be able to use that for about 20 seconds. You know, Dorsey, I start thinking about that 80 horsepower, you know, extra there. It kind of sounds like you back in the Turbo Cougar days.
We had a first push to pass button. I don't think we're supposed to talk about that, though.
Yeah.
This system, the KERS system, it's remarkable to me. I mean, what they're doing with that and trying to make that store in energy. You know, if you have that push to pass capability and it can run 20 seconds, think of what that means to over someone who doesn't have it. Right. And because Scott Atherton said that, you know, they're going to have to make adjustments. That's what I was trying to allude to, was that this technology is going to go and it's going to show us new things, and it's going to transfer onto the cars that we drive on the streets.
Not good here for the Farnbacher Lowe's Porsche. Dramas for the 87, and York Hart, who has been behind the wheel at times of distress.
What's all the windshield stuff here? I mean, that is, the whole windshield's covered in something that I'm not sure what it is.
One of those tear-offs maybe is torn, Dorsey.
It could be that.
You know, they have those tear-offs. It looks like they have half off the car.
Take a look at this, see if this tells us any more.
Oh, well, that's at the top of the hill in turn 3. He did make turn 3 through. I think, you know what? I don't think he can see. I think if it is that tear-off like you're talking about, Calvin, that's right where you come up into the sun, and possibly he can't see a thing, but now he's stopped. You know, you'd might find your way back to the pits if that were the case, but something more.
Windshield seems to be in place. I'm pretty certain that is the tear-off that's just torn halfway across the screen. I'd suggest there's maybe some other issue he's having where he went straight, didn't have full power, then coasted down through the S's there and decided he wouldn't make up the hill through turn 5.
Take a look at the top there at turns 2 and 3 when he was going to us. There's some debris on the track, whether that came from his car or not. Let's watch it.
Yeah, no, I think it was there already. But I think you're right, Kevin. I think he's pulled himself off. Now they're going to turn to a safety. What is it there?
This car at one stage was vying for the lead of the class. GT2, Jörg Hart, Dirk Werner, Bryce Miller. Great trio of drivers, very fast for Farnbacher Lowe's, the local team based right around the corner from the racetrack here.
We expect them to be campaigning a second car next year in the American Le Mans Series. Waiting to hear the decision from Porsche, who typically are very late in the season before they announce their plans for next year, but they realize GT2 is tough now. It's just going to get tougher next year, as you mentioned, Dorsey, with Corvette and BMW coming on board.
That's quite exciting, I think. You know, I love sedan classes to begin with. And now that all of them will be technically in one class, it makes it easier to understand for, you know, first time people coming in looking at this series.
Jamie Mello leading the GT2 class over Mark Lee for Flying Lizard. Now keep spare a thought for Risi Competizione and Giuseppe Risi, and he runs Ferrari of Houston, and everybody in Houston, and they're making their way back, rebuilding from Hurricane Ike. Fortunately, there was no damage done to Ferrari of Houston or to the Risi workshop, so they were spared damage there. So they were some of the lucky ones, and if they can win here, that will certainly be dedicated to the people of Houston and to the friends and family of Risi Competizione. So they're driving with a lot of hope here. There is Giuseppe Risi, a man who has been in motor racing 35 years. He is entering 3 cars at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and he was one of the winners of the inaugural Petit Le Mans 1998, the Doyle Risi Ferrari 333 SP, with Eric Vanderpool and Wayne Taylor and Emmanuel Pollard.
I raced
Wayne
against
Taylor had dodgy sunglasses.
Oh yeah, he definitely did. I raced against that car back driving for Dyson at the time. That Ferrari was a great Ferrari. It really was neat.
Let's find out more about the Farnbacher Lowe's Porsche, Jamie.
I just checked in with the team. They said they think it might be the drive shaft. They're not 100% sure at this point in time. As you said, the driver is going to take a look at it, and I'll keep you posted.
Thanks for that, and we should also let you know, folks, that the 15 Lowe's Fernandez Acura has officially been retired due to that contact at the top of the hill. Just too much traffic in the one place, and Luis Diaz bumped out of the race. We're going to show you a replay of the 87 machine. Take a real close listen to the onboard audio.
Something's loose and flying around there, Dorsey. I heard about not.
There's another one right there.
If that half shaft is snapped, they'll be flying around inside the wheel well.
Yeah, the constant velocity joint on the end.
Is that a clunk?
Yeah, well, you know, when your constant velocity joint breaks, the rest of the axle just sits there and flops around and beats away on things. He got it down to turn 5 coasting.
So your kart is done. Bryce Miller, Dirk Werner, Farnbacher Lowe's done. They join this growing list. The attrition rate has been high, but that's what Petit Le Mans is all about. It is a tough one to win. Audi on the chase, and they are chasing the mighty Peugeot 908 of Stefan Saras, and the margin is now down to 5.8 seconds. So we'll see what Lucas Luhr and Dindo Capello can do about Stefan Saras. And great day for Audi, for the king of Le Mans, Tom Christensen, putting himself on pole position for tomorrow's DTM event. Audi hoping to continue this positive wave of momentum. Brian?
Well, Audi is undefeated at Petit Le Mans. That could go all out the window today. The Peugeot running so strong. Remember the problems very early on for Alan McNish in the #1 car in the morning warm-up, and right now the 1 car is 26 seconds behind. And the reason is they're having some overheating issues. They've had to richen up the mixture because it's just running too hot as it was running lean, trying to chase down the Peugeot. A lot of dirt and debris in the radiators, so they're going to have to blow those out on this pit stop as the 1 car comes to pit road. Also concerns earlier about the right rear tire, which seemed to be blistering a little bit on the inside. They weren't sure whether they had run over some debris or perhaps some bodywork was cutting it down, but they've determined that it was just a blister issue. Michelin tire engineer said, no, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And right now, the #1 car rolling down pit lane. Dindo Capello will put it into a spot, and they'll blow out those radiators and see if they can cool that Audi diesel engine.
Look at the man who's jumping in, the Terrier McNish. He told Brad Kettler, fix the car, I'll go out and win the race. Well, right now, he's going to have to get the hammer down, and you know he's going to do it, Dorsey. We've seen it so many times. But they're up against it with that time differential they have to make up.
And leader is on pit road. Will Alan McNish take it all the way to the checkered flag? He did almost the first 3 hours of this event. We've got approximately an hour and a half remaining. Brian?
McNish finishing his driver change. You see the crewmen reaching into the radiators on the left side pod. Also, they will take an air hose to try to blow the debris out. I see a lot of grass and rubber coming out of that radiator as that crew member here on the left side trying to remove it, and now he'll blow out the radiators. Further down pit road, the Peugeot is in.
They've already cleaned the windscreen on the Peugeot, just waiting for fuel. We're going to have to see, are they going to double stint these tires? It looks like they are. And Brian, down at this end, they're not blowing the radiators out on this car, so it looks like temperatures are fine with the Peugeot. So just cleaning that windscreen, fuel, and Stefan Zerison back out.
And of course, what Chris is talking about, double stinting, is instead of coming in at the end of your fuel load and putting new tires on or sticker tires on, they leave those tires on that were on from before. It reduces the time that they're in the pits, and they can run and not lose time by leaving those tires on.
You may wonder why does it save time in pit lane because the fuel is going in. Well, of course, in this series, you cannot service the car whilst the refueling is taking place. But typically on the Audi, it's about 10 to 12 second tire change. It's a long wheelbase. You're only allowed 2 wheel guns over the wall, so the same guy has to run between the side of the car and get that wheel change done.
And one other advantage also, Calvin, is if you put on new tires, those tires are cold. You see the Peugeot making a pass right there. Those tires are cold. It takes a while to come up to temperature, and you could crash on that lap, which we've seen.
That's critical. I think he just put McNish a lap down.
He did. He certainly did. So the one car came into the pits 26 seconds down off the lead, but it slowly came in. Capello was slow to come into the lane, and then that stop, that extra time to clean the radiators, the Peugeot stopped. They didn't have to change tires, and they've been able to capitalize. So there's just 2 cars on the lead lap now.
Exactly what I was talking about. When the Peugeot didn't change tires, it could run faster pace out of the pit when he exited.
This car is coming to pit road too. Lucas Luhr is in. So the top 3 in the race, top 3 in P2, in P1, are all executing their stops.
Copy that, pit lane.
He is going to be, with about 90 minutes left in this race or so, can Alan McNish then do like a stint and a half on his tyres? It'd be a real stretch for that Peugeot to not take tyres on the next stop, so maybe they'll get that advantage back.
This is huge. Remember, Audi, as Brian mentioned, Calvin mentioned, Dorset, they've never been defeated in Petit Le Mans since they've been competing in it. They do not want to get beaten here on home soil. Audi Sport North America, they do not want to lose a big endurance race to Peugeot, especially here in the United States. Marco Werner is in.
Lucas Luhr out, Marco Werner getting in, and they will try to put this 2 car up towards the front to do battle with that Peugeot. And it will be 4 new Michelin tires. I talked to the team. They don't believe they were going to go with softer compound tires. They said the pickup is just too extreme if we get a full course caution. The softs are just too soft. They turn into gumballs. So right now the driver change being done. There was a lot of debris that came out of the radiator of the 1 car. And it remains to be seen whether they can lower the temperature on that Audi diesel engine when McNish goes back after it. And that is a very different deal than what we saw at Le Mans. At Le Mans, it was the Peugeot with the radiators full of debris and the overheating issues. Audi thought that they were immune from it. They obviously are not. Marco Werner away.
Brian, were you able to see any blisters on the tires that came off the Audi the first time?
No, I was not. It was just very small blisters around the inside shoulder there, Dorsey, just on the very inside. Almost like the car had too much negative camber in it, but as I said, the Michelin tire engineer said, no, it'll be fine.
As the Audi charge continues, sadly, the Acura charge has been cut in half. The latest to fall victim here at Road Atlanta, Lowe's Fernandez. Let's hear from the team principal.
Adrian, we spoke with Luis earlier. He said the day was going flawless so far, not a single problem, but now out early. How bad was the damage?
It's quite extensive, and unfortunately we weren't able to repair it in time, and it was a bad situation for us. It's been a tough year, you know. We just have got so many little things, and we feel bad for our fans at Lowe's and all our supporters. But you know, we will keep working hard and come back strong.
Tough year, but the good news is that you'll be back in LMP2 next year again with Acura. With all of the advancements this year, what are you looking most forward to?
Absolutely, we'll be back with car number 50 with Lowe's and Acura again in the P2, and you know, hopefully it will be a good year for us.
Well, we certainly wish you the best, and we're sorry about today.
Thank you.
And we appreciate Adrian coming back to pit road to talk to us because he had left. They'd all packed up and headed back to the transporter. Look at this. Peugeot continues to chase down Ryan Briscoe for the overall lead of the motor race. The P1, P2 scrap has been pretty intriguing today as well. And boy, are things going beautifully for Porsche in P2. They came in with a 4-point deficit in the manufacturer's chase coming into this 10th round of the American Le Mans Series. And they have really answered Acura's challenge in 2008. So the Peugeot moves ahead as quick as that. Sarrazin is flying.
Not much you can do when the guy goes by you at 50 miles an hour on the straightaway.
Well, I can't help but think back to earlier today, the smug facial expression and that little smile of Nicholas Manassian saying, hey, we simply have the fastest sports car in the world, and we have witnessed that today. I want to remind you, one last round of the ALMS to come. Of course, it is from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, and you can hear live qualifying streaming from Friday, October 17, 6 p.m. Eastern. AmericanLeMans.com is the place to go. We are back at Petit Le Mans Road Atlanta, and we are enjoying this fight, Peugeot versus Audi, and it is far from done. So much to play for here, and it has become very clear very early that the Peugeot is the clear pace setter. Alan McNish trying desperately to work back up onto the lead lap. He needs to get past that Peugeot coupe to do it, and he is certainly within touch.
He realizes he has to get by him somehow, some way. He's going to try and work this traffic as best he can, and then he's going to need some kind of help, because right now he is a full lap down to the car that he's chasing.
And look at this, look at this. We'll see how Sarrazin responds. Nobody can apply pressure like Alan McNish can. Will he force the Peugeot into a mistake?
Well, I don't think so, because Sarrazin already knows he can win the war down the long straightaway here at Road Atlanta. I mean, there's no need to go contesting the corner with him, because when he gets to the long straightaway, he's going to pull the pit trigger on the Peugeot, and it's going to run away.
Alan needs traffic probably to try and help him make this pass.
Yeah, you'll see
Pure
it right.
speed, lap time seems about the same, Dorsey, but down this straightaway.
Yeah, watch it now. You'll see it clearly, the difference between the speeds of the two cars on straightaway speeds.
The louvers there on the left front fender for Alan McNish have blown out a little bit. That'll be from some of the pickup that just kicks up off the tire, punches that hole. It actually increases the front downforce, stops as much lift there on the front end.
As we continue to enjoy this, we will monitor this closely, but we need to welcome a special guest to the Speed Announce booth. Margot Oge, the Director of Office of Transportation and Air Quality for the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. Margot, welcome to Road Atlanta, and welcome to motorsport.
Thank you, Lee.
Big weekend with the world racing debut of the Green Challenge. I mean, to break it down on a very simple level, why has the EPA got involved?
Well, it's very simple. We believe that in the past, the racing community has been very critical in a lot of innovation when it comes to performance, it comes to safety, and we are very excited to see that the racing community is interested on clean, advanced, sustainable technologies that can help us to do three things. Address energy security issues that are very important, climate change, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So the fact that the American Le Mans has embraced the Green Challenge is a big thing. It's a big thing for innovation, but it's also a very big thing for education, educating the general public about the importance of clean, sustainable technologies.
It's a big thing too, Margot, that someone from the motorsport community and someone from the EPA can sit at the same dinner table too.
That is pretty amazing, pretty amazing.
Because that hasn't happened in the past. But it is a wonderful innovation, and this is the first time that it's been in practice for real. Of course, there have been several practice runs, but it's exciting times, and to have the Department of Energy involved as well, and SAE. Are the three entities working well together?
Yes, we have a group of 5 technical experts that have put some outstanding protocols that will allow us to evaluate each one of these cars based on 3 criteria: efficiency, reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, and how much gasoline do you displace when you run these races. And clearly, these advanced technologies can withstand the severe conditions of this race and still perform well, this will be tremendous technologies for the everyday, commuting to work kind of vehicles.
Speaking of severe, that was fairly severe for Alan McNish, but he was able to weave his way through that. What's been the reaction of some of your peers at the EPA to this program?
I think people are very excited. There are a number of technologies here. This is the clean diesel technology that we were just seeing a couple of minutes ago. We have the Porsche gasoline direct injection technology that improves fuel efficiency anywhere from 18 to 25%. And also we have the E85 second generation of biofuels, which is very important fuel.
Seems like the teams and manufacturers have certainly embraced this platform. As you've made your rounds here today through the paddock and spoken to people, does it seem like the fans and everyone else around the community are understanding what we're doing here?
Yes, I think so. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons that this race today is so popular. That's what I'm told. Especially the young people are very excited.
Well, Margot, thank you very much. We know
Thank
that you
you.
also have been very busy today, and we appreciate the EPA's involvement in the Green Challenge and also in motorsport. And I will give you Calvin's telephone number afterwards because he drives a V8-powered pickup truck. We need to get him on
I have to talk to him.
Yeah, okay.
I have some ideas for
trouble
him.
here.
This is the VC Porsche, and it's been able to get gathered up.
That was right in front of the leaders, and here comes Alan McNish.
Slices back to the outside. He's just trying to keep tabs on that Peugeot and hopes that he hits traffic and Alan can skirt his way through.
That was Mark Basseng, and he was able to catch that very, very well.
Wow, now this is the end of the racetrack where Alan's got to make his pass. He's got to get it done, Calvin, up there around turn 3 so he can gap the Peugeot so that the Peugeot doesn't drive by him when he gets to the straightaway.
McNish will not give in. There was plenty of traffic there. Will it happen again for him to get past Saracen, get back on the lead lap as we look towards the final hour or so in Petit Le Mans?
The thing is, with another Audi in the field, you know McNish is going to be aggressive if he has the chance, Dorsey.
Yeah, he's flashing the lights and being a big pain right now.
He just hates what happened at the beginning of the day, but he still has a shot to win the big one. We are in the twilight zone here at Road Atlanta for Petit Le Mans, and the 45 Flying Lizard Porsche Championship leading car is on pit road.
Jörg Bergmeister taking over from Mark Lieb, and right now, remember, he's trying to get for 6 in a row, something that no one has ever done here at Petit Le Mans, and this car showing the signs of abuse around this racetrack today, but it has been running well. If they could just get rid of the understeer, they might have a race-winning car. It is not over yet, and Jörg Bergmeister certainly knows how to win here at Petit Le Mans. Chris?
Ryan, a moment ago, the 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari was also in. Jamie Mello out, Mika Salo back in, took fuel and tires, talking with the team. They've been double stitching tires all day long. That last stop that they will do, probably about 15 minutes, an hour from now, Jamie Mello will get back behind the wheel and they will not take tires. So the Ferrari getting very good tire wear in comparison to what we've been seeing off the Porsches. Jamie?
You guys talk about the debris being picked up at this late point in the race. This is a ball of rubber that came out of the GT2 Aston Martin. These are the kinds of things that get caught up. This causes the cars to overheat. The radiators get clogged. No telling what could happen. So as the race carries on to the final stages, keep an eye on pieces flying off.
Now that is a bunch of discarded rubber that gets thrown off the tire, it gets into bodywork, it starts rolling around like a snowball, gets bigger and bigger, finally becomes so heavy that it has to come out under braking. I almost turned the car over one time when a chunk of that came out, got underneath the tire, lifted me off the ground. I mean, that's how big those get.
Remember, TK, our friend Tom Christensen, had a major off here at Petit a few years ago in one of the practice sessions when a piece of that broke loose and got under the left front as he turned in for turn 1, and he just went for a ride. So since that time, Audi actually put some PAM, some oil cooking spray on the inside of the fenders so it doesn't accumulate like that. It just will not stick, and you don't have that kind of problem. We're looking at the Drayson Barwell 007. Those guys have had a pretty good day here. They're well up in the Green Challenge, of course. Darren Turner behind the wheel right now. He is a stud in these GT cars, has a very busy season. Races in a number of categories over in Europe. As Lee mentioned earlier, one of the victors for Aston Martin at Le Mans this year, along with Brabs and Antonio Garcia. he will definitely get the job done here this evening.
You can start now to see the yellow tinted or amber tinted headlight covers on the GT cars, that when you look in your rearview mirror, you know what it is back there, whether it's a prototype coming. You actually get to know the shape of the headlights of something like that Peugeot or an Audi, because they come flying up on you so much they scare you, living death out of you.
You can see the lights starting to take effect now, and the drivers implementing the flashing of them to alert GT cars like the JMB Ferrari. This is where it's crucial to be decisive. An update on another retiree, the 40 Robertson Racing Ford GT40 is done for the day. And it is just a byproduct of endurance sports car racing that the attrition rate is high. But it's even higher when the pace is as grueling as it's been today.
Absolutely, and these guys have done a tremendous job. I mean, the Penske Porsches in general, but particularly for these championship leaders, Timo Bernhard and Romain Dumas. They had a lot of pressure. They had a huge points lead that has dwindled over the last few months. So to come into this big race knowing you have to finish, get those bonus points, has been a great job today. They're in the catbird seat. They could clinch here tonight. Meanwhile, the number 5 car, currently driven by Helio Castroneves, he's chasing down his fellow Brazilian. Oh, really tight there through, and that's the GT2
that was
championship
the 45.
leader.
Yeah.
Wow, it gets hairy down there through the S's. That is the problem spot, from 2 all the way down through 5. Kind of a ribbon effect down through there. You take each other's line away as you go through those series of corners. Helio had a narrow escape there.
And it doesn't matter that he is a Indy 500 winner 2 times over. He's still learning his sports car racing craft and getting by GT cars.
That's too late. You can't do it on the inside for that corner.
And if you move a GT car offline, it doesn't have downforce, so it's going to go out there and crash. So they ended up, both of them, working with one another once the mistake was made, though.
They corrected it well, but remember also those GT cars typically are sitting on the left side of the car, so it's harder to see. When that side view mirror is right next to you, you see the cars. When the guys make the move down at the right side, I was talking to Johnny O'Connell about this, he said it's really hard to see the prototypes coming.
Right, let's see these two work in unison, pushing the envelope and trying to bridge that 4.9 second gap to Tony Kanaan. On board with Romain Dumas.
Interesting scenario here for Roger Penske. Does he call team orders? The 9 car is out, so the 7 car is looking in great shape for the championship. Does he allow his boys to just go race for the win here tonight, Dorsey? What do you think?
Well, he's not going to make that decision for quite a long time, that's for sure. But I would think it was, Roger's very smart. I think he would give the advantage to the car that's going to win the championship.
He certainly has. Over the previous rounds, we've seen a couple of dubious pit stops where cars have been in the pit lane that didn't need service on the Penske camp to give the 7 maximum points.
I thought I saw that car off the road. It was up there on the outside of turn 5, limping along. 007, of course, the Aston Martin. I can't tell what's wrong with it.
Can you move the gear lever at all? I mean, does it feel like it's just snapped the prop or
In case he's lost drive.
And this car has been performing probably the best we have seen this year. Darren Turner, Johnny Cocker, and Paul Drayson.
radio.
Something with the gear shifter.
I can see you've stopped.
He was asking him if he can feel anything in the gear lever by shifting. If the transmission's shifting, if you can feel it in your hand, that means it's a drive shaft, that the transmission's working properly, but it's not connected to the rear wheel any longer.
And that is more than likely.
Did you hear any noise, over? Did you hear any noise?
Apparently a radio problem on top of that drive line problem.
More than likely day over for the Drayson Barwell Aston Martin, the only one of its kind here at Petit Le Mans.
That's turn 6. That's the furthest point around this racetrack from pit lane. So Darren's jumping out.
He's actually halfway between 5 and 6.
Almost going to roll away from him. He needs to be careful here. This is going to roll back on the racetrack.
Well, here's the problem. If he's lost a drive shaft or whatever, he can't put it in gear and make it stop either. He's going to have a look at it himself.
Remember the rule. We saw this with Scott Sharp earlier in the day. If they're going to finish this race or get any more laps anyway, Darren needs to stay close to the car. He's going to try and report to the team if he sees anything. You're not allowed to have any outside assistance.
Oh, and this is the VC Racing Porsche, the 18 that we saw in trouble a little earlier as well. Mark Basseng is still behind the wheel. Boy, it's been an eventful day for this
turn
Porsche.
12 right underneath us, guys. That's a big hit. That's right at start-finish line. I don't know if we're going to get a full course or not. I would assume we will if he can't move it.
There we go. Number 9 for the day.
Let's see what Audi can now do with their strategy with McNish. A lap down to Nicholas Manassian. Let's see what they can do with their strategy. If the Peugeot should pit, maybe they'll keep here. We see a replay. Ooh, that's a ride.
That is
That's
ugly.
a big ride, and he might have had help from that car right there. I'm not sure of that.
Wow.
But he was backwards and around before the turn in for the corner.
Kind of straight indoors.
Here,
Let's
here
take
you go.
another look here.
See what happens here. Oh,
No,
man, something broke. You see the
Flat rear.
sparks? Flat
Yeah.
left rear.
Flat left rear.
Oh, big,
no.
big impact.
Massive hit.
You saw the sparks off the rim. Left rear went down. What a bad place for that to happen.
Tire bundles doing their job, but that was scary. That was massive.
Tough day for that team. Ronnie Meixner runs the team. He's the owner and president, an ex-racer himself. He's had a lot of success over the years, really trying to get this GT2 team, up to speed with the big guns in the series, and they're working hard, working with the Kumho tires, trying to develop that into a race-winning situation.
Remember, they had a flat tire on the rear before. I was talking about the Kumho tires. That car came in with a flat. Might
Isn't
be
that
an indicator.
a positive sign there? Mark Basseng, very talented Porsche driver, able to get out and walk from the car under his own power after one of the scariest rides he has taken in his career. Back with the cleanup. Turn 12, the high-speed, one of the most enjoyable but scary corners on any racetrack you'll find. That cleanup continues, and that has played to the strategy for Audi and Peugeot. Chris.
Well, the Peugeot is in. This is going to be their final stop. Christian Klein taking over for Stefan Sarrazin. We got to remember, this is only his second race with Peugeot. The only other race he did was Le Mans earlier this year, so this man's going to have to finish out this sprint. Brian?
Go. No traffic.
Down here with Mr. Corvette, Ron Fellows, watching the action out there. Ron, it's great to see you back here. And I think the thing that's really cool is, I call you Mr. Corvette because you were there at the beginning of this program. This is going to be the last time that the C6R runs in the GT1 here at Petit. When you look back over the history, how special is that to have been involved with it all that time?
I think it's one of the highlights, obviously, not only for myself, but my entire family to be part of this. And thank you, Herb Fischel, Gary Pratt. It's very, very cool to see how this thing has evolved. It's and awesome to be part of.
And I've seen different emotions on your face this weekend. I know you're always smiling, which is good to see because you're always in such a good mood, but saw a little frustration on your face as well. And I think that frustration was because you're back in the car and you're really fast, and it makes me think maybe you want to be in it a little bit more.
Well, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I mean, the C6R, the Comfy Work Corvette, is a lot of fun to drive, and this is a great fun racetrack. But yeah, no, it's great to be part of this, and hopefully 3-car can come away with a win here. And got to say hi to Don Mail, one of our crew guys, is hurting back at home. Donnie, we miss you. Take care.
And it was nice to see that you could get all your hockey equipment out of the way in the closet, find your helmet, and get back.
It's a good thing I didn't bring my hockey helmet. That'd be really goofy.
Hey, it was nice to hear from Ron Fellows. Great to see Ron Fellows. But did you see what went down in the pits?
I didn't. What
Huh?
happened?
With Audi and Peugeot.
Oh, I got you.
again.
Yeah, I thought you meant the Corvette pit.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
no.
Audi once again did a faster pit stop there, and Peugeot lost position to see who stayed out there, but certainly the Audi pit stop was faster, and the number 2 car got ahead. McNish stayed out on the racetrack, so he should be back on the lead lap, so lots to play for here.
Well, the Audi didn't have a windshield to clean. That's why. Not really.
But all day long, it seems like the Audi stops have been a little bit quicker.
But I think, Calvin, I think that Peugeot's being calculated in their pit stops. I don't think they're really rushing anything. If you watch them, it's very methodical what they do. They're not really trying to do a quick pit stop, it doesn't look like to me. The same way they're doing with their passes on the racetrack. They're not forcing the hand at all. They're just letting it come.
No mistakes, but I mean, at this stage of the game, with just over an hour to go possibly, we're not sure whether it's going to be that long. Depends on the cleanup here with the tire wall, but certainly you don't want to be giving up the lead of the race. But they're right behind them. They understand they have good straightaway speed to take advantage of that when we go back to green.
It's good though, isn't it? It's building. It is building. Cleanup continues, and the crew's working as hard as they can. And this is building to yet another exciting climax of Petit Le Mans. We seem to have it each and every year in darkness. Who will it be when the fireworks go off, when we go back to racing? Brian, what do you have?
Romain Dumas on pit road, a splash of fuel only and then back out. And I think the team is thinking, we've topped him off now. He's good to go to the checkered.
Looking for back-to-back victories. Romain Dumas and Timo Bernard. And they are out chasing the AGR XM satellite machine.
I think, Calvin, everybody's going to be good on fuel now. This caution is not over with yet. That impact, as you saw the Porsche fly in the air, actually that was probably better for the driver because it dissipated the energy, but it moved the tire barrier all over the place. They're now having to rebuild that. So it'll take a little while to get that back in shape.
All right, as we normally do, we'll make the most and go away, squeeze in a break while we're under caution, and come back once the cleanup is done and go racing. Want to remind you about the ballot is open for the annual From the Fans and Most Popular Drivers Awards. You can play your part. Just go to AmericanLeMans.com and you've got until midnight tomorrow night to cast your vote. Why don't you do it? AmericanLeMans.com and vote for From the Fans and for the Most Popular Driver Awards. Want to remind you, Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern here on Speed, Pink's All Out ignites Thursday night with an all-new episode as the competition heats up. A timing system failure sends Pink's the All Out crew scrambling. Threatens to jeopardize the entire race. That's Pink's All Out Thursday on Speed. Let's get a pit update. There's some plenty of interesting things happening here at Road Atlanta.
Well, guys, in LMP2, Frank Montagny stayed in the 26 car. Fuel, no tires. They did blow out the radiators again. They added a little bit of water to that Acura, but there are no overheating issues with the car. They did not take tires, so his tires are up to temperature, up to pressure, so he's going to be able to go hard once we go back to green. Brian, what happened down at Penske?
Down at Penske, the 7 car came in. They did a splash of fuel, went back out. They were at the back of the line, so they said, why not? They came back in the next lap, another splash, and took 4 new tires. So he'll have 4 new Michelins to go to the end. Won't have to worry about any pickup that he'll get out there on the racetrack because his tires aren't hot yet. Now, he will have to get them up to temperature, and that could be an issue, but it's 2 different strategies. We'll see which one pays off.
The reason why you see things speeding up, we're back to green racing. Will this be the final stint to take us to the checkered flag here at Petit Le Mans?
That's Marco Werner at the head of the pack here. The first set of headlight, big crash down into turn 1.
It's an Acura, it's a Frank Montagny. Frank Montagny.
He was pushing hard, Elio Castroneves.
The car just spun. One on the right, one on the left, one in the middle. I touched the one in the middle.
Cars spinning in front of him is what Frank is saying on the radio. He was trying to get the hammer down and catch the lead Penske car, which right now is the 5 car, Elio Castroneves.
Oh, it's one of the Porsches.
One of the Flying Lizards. It's the 46. I think that is the red banded car, the 46.
Yeah, that's a huge hit. You see the wheel suspension up here?
The left driver's side.
This is the second time this week that Patrick Pilet has been in that car when there has been a massive contact. Can you believe 3 of the 4 Acuras are out of this race?
That is a devastating blow to their manufacturer, Chase.
And we have seen, Calvin, so many of these accidents on the restarts this year at this racetrack. All through the testing weeks.
Frank had an accident the other day when there were some cars spinning down the racetrack and suddenly the traffic all got together and he had nowhere to go. Let's take a look at the replay here, coming down at the restart, down towards turn 1, front straightaway.
Oh, that's out from underneath the bridge.
It's out of the bridge.
And there's a car spun around, headed the wrong direction.
Here comes the traffic at full speed. That's Patrick Pilet. Just slams into that prototype that was stranded.
Let's take a look. The 26 is right in the middle of this mess, I believe.
That's the 26 right there that collected the debris. Who was the prototype? What was the prototype at the top of the hill facing the wrong direction? That's the question that needs to be answered.
It's still up there. They got safety cars and safety trucks around it, but I don't know what it is.
That's the disbelief in the Andretti Green pit. That is Frank Montagny walking back. It is day over and out for AGR.
Massive crash underneath the bridge.
That was scary for Patrick Pilet, the French driver for Flying Lizard, and we've still yet to identify that prototype that was at the top of the hill facing the wrong direction. Had spun on the restart.
Patrick may have been blinded by the lights there, Dorsey, coming up over the hill.
You know, it's blind coming up over there. There's a car sitting in the middle of the road backwards with the headlights looking straight at you. You know, he was in traffic. There's the 46 still. That's the other side of the Porsche.
Very scary scene. Very scary scene here.
There it
is
is.
That prototype, and is that a it's the 30. It's the sole remaining Intersport Lola, and it is demolished. It was Georges Fourgeois behind the wheel, facing the wrong direction on a restart. You could not get anything more frightening. Here is Frank Montagny. Chris?
Frank, you were leading before that last caution, in second place when the green flag just came out, but what happened as we went back to restart?
Don't really know. It's like I saw one car on the right, I went on the left, and the tires, a full wheel, get into my car and just crashed the front left of my car. I just hit the bouncing tires in the middle of the straight, so it's like, really, nothing I can do there.
Well, this was really the last hope for Acura against Porsche this weekend.
And you got a feel for Montagny there. He just tried to pick a gap and go for it, and there was a whole wheel and suspension arm and everything in there.
There was no gap to go through, unfortunately. When that suspension sheared off there, you had the Porsche there, the 30 there. And for Frank, it was just unfortunate. This is a huge impact to the front.
Of course, our first thought is with the drivers involved there. Georges Fourgeois hasn't seen a lot of sports car racing recently. Has been doing some SCCA National Formula Atlantic driving recently, trying to get back in the groove. And Patrick Pilet, of course, involved in the 46 car. So fingers crossed for those two boys as the field streams down pit lane.
Let's have a closer look at the 30.
The entire left front, most of the front is completely destroyed. The whole left side, Calvin, where the Porsche made impact, tore the whole side structure off.
And this team has had a lot of big hits recently. This 30 car, not this particular car, but the 30 entry, had a big shunt at most ways. Another look at it, Dorsey.
And up, coming out right here, this car.
46.
Goes
right in the middle there, you see Montagny takes that corner that's now flying through the air. That was a piece of the suspension off the 30 car.
No dodging anything like that, especially during the day, much less at night.
And this is Georges Fourgeois, and he walked by himself to the IMSA medical car.
That's great
which
news.
Is a relief.
Such a nice gentleman. Raced in the American Le Mans Series 3 years ago. Prior to that, he sponsors Romain Dumas, actually. He's a restaurant in the New York area, the Tribeca area, called Cercle Rouge. Just one of the characters up and down pit lane that we like to see.
We just hope that it's the same situation for Patrick Pilet as is with Fourgeois and Montagny, that they are both all right. Massive cleanup underway here at Road Atlanta in the dark of night. It's one of the challenging aspects of this race. It occurred, if you've just tuned in, it occurred on restart. So the fans will have a moment to take a breather, take a rest before we go back racing. And while we're all gathered here as the motorsport family, we do spare a thought for a man who really enjoyed racing here at Road Atlanta. I'm talking about the late Paul Newman, legendary Hollywood actor, wonderful gentleman, and a real racer at heart. Here he is the last time he raced at Petit Le Mans back in 2002 for Dick Barber's Porsche team. And he just loved to compete. The majority of cars are displaying a decal with his famous initials, PLN, and there is a massive billboard in the Turn 10AB complex. PLN, we will miss him. I have to say the cleanup crews have done a wonderful job at doing just that under the bridge and the run down into turn 12 after that very nasty looking accident involving 3 cars. And the biggest hit occurred to Patrick Pilet. Brian has caught up with him.
Good to see Patrick Pilet after that scary moment. One of the neat things about Road Atlanta is the blind up and downhill corners, but On a night like this, they are downright scary. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it was really scary, and it's a big crash. I was just behind the Ferrari, the Rizzi car, and I was just a little bit inside of the Rizzi car on the right side. And after the uphill, I just see a car completely stopped with the light off, and I have no chance to don't hit the car, and it was a terrible crash, but it's okay. So for sure the car is completely dead, and for the championship it's not really good, and for the Flying Lizard too, I'm really disappointed because we are fourth and we started on the last position, but I'm okay. That's the most important for tonight.
Well, I think it's a testament to the Porsche and the strength of that chassis that you are okay. It's great to see that, but what a great car.
Yeah, the car is really strong for sure, because the inside don't move, but all over was completely off.
Great to have a chance to talk to Patrick Petit, especially after an incident such as that.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. And all three drivers okay, which is very encouraging news. We're getting ready for a 35-lap dash to the end of Petit Le Mans. Chris, how do you see this one shaking out?
Well, while we were away, Lee, Christian Klein came in the Peugeot just for fuel. The team did set up for tires. I thought maybe they were going to go for tires because of all the debris on the racetrack, but I think they were just trying to shake out the Audi out there, so it was just fuel. However, it was a slow fuel stop. When they pulled the nozzle back, Klein did not get the car going for a good 5 seconds, so they definitely lost some time in pit lane. Brian?
Werner took fuel only in his number 2 Audi as he came to pit road, but the number 1 of Alan McNish came in fuel and tires, and they have gone to the soft compound.
There is the crash site. They bring it up to full speed, and the call is green, green, green. Here we go. Will this be an unobstructed run to the end? Who will clinch Petit Le Mans?
And look at Alan McNish trying to clear his way through some of the P2 cars to try and get his car back on the tail of the lead 2 here as they head up through turn 3.
He's out there with brand new cold tires. It's going to take a little while. They're the soft compound. That will make that better.
2 on 1. 2 Audis versus 1 Peugeot is the former Jaguar and Red Bull Racing Formula 1 driver Christian Klein up to the task in the Peugeot.
Here comes McNish. He's trying to make his way through. I believe it's one of the Penske cars right in front of him.
It's the 5 of Elio Castro Neves up into turn 7 and the run down the back straight.
McNish should clear him here, Dorsey, down this long back straightaway with that diesel power.
Yeah, Audi will out top end that Porsche. There he goes right now, setting him up to the inside.
Now he's third on the road, third in class. Fresh tires. Can McNish perform the magic? You see there, the car bottoming out. Tire pressure's not up yet.
If anybody can do it, McNish can.
Be pretty surprised Peugeot went with Christian Klein. He's only raced with this team at Le Mans this year. Why not go with Stefan Sarrazin, who's raced in the U.S. and raced this car all season? Christian Klein never racing at Petit, never racing at Road America. In fact, the only place he has raced in the U.S. is at Indianapolis during the Formula 1 races.
Well, he's got to get on the tail of Marco Werner here, but I don't think Marco Werner can make this car wide enough. Will he make the move before turn 6? Accelerating off turn 2. Marco Werner looking for that set of lights in his rear view mirrors, and here comes McNish.
You remember at Le Mans when we were there earlier this year in the nighttime stint, in the early stages of the nighttime stint, Klein made an unforced error. He has never raced Road Atlanta before, never raced at night at Road Atlanta before, and he's got the multi-time Petit Le Mans winner and champion chasing him down.
Looking through the headlights, he ducks to the right side. Now back to the left, the inside line. No, Werner later on the brakes.
Not enough straightaway speed to get that pass made there. He'll try that again, but all that Dyson up front has brought McNish right to the back end.
Audi versus Peugeot. Who's going to win the final Enduro of the season?
Boy, look how much McNish has closed up. There is the Scotsman down into turn 1. Werner, the newly crowned, the 3-time series champion, under pressure from Christian Klein, but Klein will be under pressure from McNish, who is storming up onto the back of the Porsche.
He is flying, Lee. He is
Peugeot.
Just taking car lengths out of the lead at these 2 cars. Look at this, down into turn 5. McNish later on the brakes.
They are ganging up on the Peugeot 908. Klein is now the one under pressure, and McNish is flashing him.
That'll really distract him. That's horrible to have that in your eyes.
Werner has to defend. He has to somehow hang on to this lead down this long back straightaway. On board with McNish. Slower car's going to come into play here shortly.
And for Clean, he's got to get around Werner right now on the straightaway. He's got to, because McNish is going to eat him up.
He can use the traffic. Oh, look at this!
There he
On
comes.
the inside goes the Peugeot. New race leader, Christian Clean.
That had to happen, Calvin. He had to get by that other Audi.
Talking to Alan McNish earlier, he was sitting here watching our coverage, some of the helicopter shots in the back straightaway earlier, and you could see the frustration on his face. He said, how can we compete with that? The straight line speed, we just don't have it. And you can hear the frustration in his voice, and I think you see the frustration right now in McNish. He wants to take the fight back to him, and he wants Marco Werner to get out of the way.
Audi has to make a decision right now. McNish has the fastest race car. He has to get by his teammate. I would think team orders have to come into play here, Dorsey, if they want to win here tonight.
You don't want him crashing. You know, with McNish with those soft tires, he's faster, but he's using up those tires uselessly right now.
They had this problem.
Alan is the one directly behind on new tires.
That's the polite way of saying that McNish is probably quicker, Marco. Traffic, the Corvette there in turn 7. Clean is through.
This would be the place to make it happen. On the straightaway, all you got to do is just breathe a little bit and he'll be right by.
Here's McNish on his teammate. Side by side, McNish is trying desperately to go with this Peugeot. Moves into second place convincingly.
Now it's on. Now it's fully on.
Think of how this day has rolled through. Alan McNish had the off on the formation lap, getting the car to the grid. They started from pit lane, 2 laps down. Now he's on the tail of the leader with 31 laps to go.
And McNish has got to make that pass early in the lap, somewhere up here by turn 1, 2, 3.
Faking to the inside as he putting Clean under pressure, trying to force him into a mistake. Look at this. He's right with the Austrian.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's weaving the car back and forth to distract Clean. Now there's traffic in the way.
Now you could be patient at the early parts of this race. No longer. The lead is up for grabs. McNish looks to the inside for turn 5. Traffic ahead. McNish will try and time it off the corner. Gets a run.
This is where he is like no other. Even the greatest at Le Mans, Tom Christensen, says, we'll put the Terrier into the car. And he gets him. What a move from McNish.
Takes the lead now. He takes more traffic. A buffer now as they get onto that straightaway. Will that be enough for McNish to hang on to the lead?
That lap car will help out a lot, no question about it. But watch the Peugeot now. It's going to start lagging.
He's too far back, though, Dorsey. I think Alan's got a strong enough lead here. What a move by McNish into turn 6.
This is it, the pass for the lead. McNish on the right of your screen. Christian Clean on the left. Uses that traffic perfectly.
They touched. That was close there with the left rear corner and the front right of Clean.
Marco Werner almost went through on Christian as well. How about that? How about what we have got here? The top 3 in the race. Top 3 in P1. Exchanging blows. None bigger, none better than the diminutive Scotsman, Alan McNish, your new race leader. You are watching Petit Le Mans here on Speed, part of the American Le Mans Series, round 10, presented by the totally new Mazda 6. And how about these boys at Audi Sport North America, who have worked tirelessly, particularly with the one car, to get it repaired and get it back out on track. From 2 laps down to be leading this race in the closing stages. Fighting superior speed aboard the Peugeot. McNish with racecraft and experience, wrestling that lead back.
That's the key, Lee. He has the experience. Look at him there. He's already cleared that traffic. Clean comes with him. This is where the experience over the years that Alan McNish has. He's gone for 3 straight here at Petit, his 4th win at Petit Le Mans.
Now Clean is close enough, though, that the Peugeot power on that straightaway is going to come into play. He's right there.
Alan will realize it. He will defend to the inside if necessary.
When it's one-on-one like this, it's in Peugeot's favor. As we come through 7, watch it down the back straight.
Here we go. Watch that power. Here it comes. What can Alan McNish do short of running back and forth across the straightaway?
He has to stay left. Marco Werner didn't. He has to stay left here as they get towards the braking zone and make Clean go the long way around.
Under brakes, Clean is going for it, and he may have got the left wheels on the grass.
You saw Alan there in the middle of the road, and still Clean went to the inside. There wasn't enough room, squeezed him.
Is that a double wide R10?
Well, now he knows what he's got to deal with, doesn't he? Next time he... Can't believe he went to the inside there.
That was the Peugeot team anxiously watching the fight. Here's the replay. Check it out down into 10A. Look left.
Alan McNish is and Clean.
I'd say he went out in the dirt.
The boys have been pretty polite to this stage of the race. Alan is not going to give this one away easily.
It's gloves off now. It is gloves off. We're staying with this, folks. Nothing has changed in the other classes. Werner has bridged the gap to Clean.
You have to wonder if there's any damage to that front splitter there. Clean has lost a little bit of ground, and Werner's now right on his tail as well.
Or did he just really get his tires full of, you know, the red Georgia clay and not be able to get the car cleaned up?
We talked earlier about Christian Clean not knowing Road Atlanta, and especially in the dark. That's exactly what you saw. For any of us who've ever raced here, we know that the racetrack bends slightly there. Christian Clean did not, doesn't remember it, came over the crest of that hill, and surprise.
In LMP2, it is Penske Porsches 1, 2, and 3. 4, 5, and 6 overall, the 1, 2, and 3 in class. And in GT2, it is still up front, Mika Salo over Jörg Bergmeister.
I think that shook Christian up. I really do. I think what Brian said is true. He didn't realize that he was about to go off the road at 190 plus mile per hour.
And remember, this racetrack is a difficult one to learn. These guys did not get a lot of night laps on Thursday when night practice happened. Alan McNish has years of experience here. Christian Clean does not.
If you didn't know the road bend there and you're running 194 miles an hour and you find yourself out in the dirt, that would wake you up.
Just a bit. GT1, it's Johnny O, Ron Fellows, and Jan Magnussen leading the way over their sister car. So you're updated with the classes, and we are enjoying one of the classic Petit Le Mans battles. And this was our big showcase story. The showdown, Audi versus Porsche. So much on the line. Audi trying to stay undefeated in their Petit Le Mans history.
Can they respond? You have to wonder, those soft tires for McNish, will they be good during the last 10 laps here?
But Klein, he's got to get his wits back about him right now. Take a deep breath and just start running real smooth laps. Use that straightaway speed the best you can. Traffic can still be a factor here. Look at this.
It can help you, it can hurt you. Alan clears that GT2 car, the Chrome Racing Risi Ferrari.
Guys just checked in with the Peugeot team, and they're saying that the car is fine after Christian took it off the racetrack there. So no problems with tire, no pickup. They're just saying, we've got to regroup here. We've got to settle them down a little bit. We've still got a few laps in front of us, and then we'll try and pull the trigger and go get them again.
We talk about pickup on the tires, Chris. Now remember, Alan McNish has those soft compound tires on, and one of the issues with that tire is when you get it offline, it really picks up a lot of that rubber as he makes these moves and runs a little bit of an unorthodox line in places, especially to get around some of those GT cars. Pickup is always going to be an issue, so it'll be interesting to see how long those soft compound Michelins hang in there for McNish.
Remember that Peugeot has beaten Audi in a 1,000-kilometer race in the Le Mans Series. We're talking 1,000 miles here. This is long. This is tough. And these guys know it. Peugeot know they have a fight on their hands. Look at Marco Werner on the inside into turn one and thinks about it again.
This would be huge if Werner could get in front of Clean. That could be the buffer that McNish needs for a few laps just to pull a gap, Dorsey.
I agree. If he gets in front of him, that could really change the complexion. For Clean, he's got to step the pace up. He's got to find some way to run down McNish. McNish with the softer tires will be quicker early, but he might start to fall off the longer this goes green.
Werner got wide there through turn one, lost a little momentum, and the gap gets bigger.
Even just Marco throwing the nose of his car in there, disturbing Christian Clean, is enough. Can the Austrian respond?
Well, he can't just think of hitting his marks, he has to defend at the same time, particularly in traffic. So you're looking ahead, you're looking behind, Dorsey. A lot more difficult task.
One more round remains in the American Le Mans Series 2008. It is from Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca, and you can catch live streaming of qualifying from Friday, October 17 from 6 p.m. Eastern. Hope you can be with us then. It is tough to produce your best when everybody is most weary, most tired, most worn out. But this is gripping motorsport right here, right now. Audi Sport North America versus Peugeot Sport. And McNish has started to run away. There he is at the bottom of your frame. Second place, middle of your screen, is Christian Klein, former F1 driver, up against three-time American Le Mans Series champion Marco Werner. There's the straight line difference between the two. The closed-top coupe of Peugeot and the open-top R10. McNish is already down in 10A, 10B now, coming up to complete another lap.
And McNish has run here at Road Atlanta and under these night conditions many, many times. That is the difference right now, Calvin, the way I see it. Poor Klein's out there for the first time of his life at night on a track that he doesn't know that well.
He's got traffic right there. Marco Werner is close as they get down into the turn one. Turn-in point. I'd like to say braking zone. They don't brake much these days.
Listening to the crew talk to Alan McNish, or actually McNish talked to the crew. He said, you've got to help me out here. Every time I need a split. How far in front of him am I? What type of lap time am I turning? And how many laps to go? I need to know it every lap.
The key is the split. He needs to know if he can be patient with that traffic, Dorsey. Where is the man behind me? Can I wait a second, or is he right there?
You truly don't know what the pace you're running is because you're totally concentrated on the fact that you can't see very much. So that information tells you what you need to do. You want to be able to slow up if you can.
Remember, Alan McNish has not raced here in the United States full-time this year, focusing on the European Le Mans Series. And there's Klein flashing that traffic up ahead. It's great for Alan to be back in the US. It's his second home for sure, and he is performing just as well as ever.
We've talked about traffic all day. Now we're talking traffic at night, and there's a lot of cars left to be passed before we get this thing to a final.
And McNish and Capello bring it home. They'll win the Big Three in the same season if they can do it here tonight. The 12 Hours of Sebring, Le Mans, and Petit.
And you have to keep reminding yourself, A, it's never been done before. B, they would do it from a 2-lap deficit.
But look at this now, boys. Klein has finally shook Werner. Now that'll help him out a lot because he doesn't have Werner's headlights in the right going through, melting through the back of his skull.
What a send-up it would be for Pirro as well, who's sharing the one car tonight with McNish and Capello. We understand this will be his final season in the Audi prototypes. They'll do the final round at Laguna Seca. We're unsure who his teammate will be. This Audi camp have really kept us guessing on who the teammates will be who have rotated through the one car this year.
Manueli, a two-time series champion in P900 and P1 himself.
He was devastated after Le Mans. He just said we had a very poor 24-hour race. We never got the handle on the car. It was a long 24 hours. We were never a factor. And he said, I walked away from that race feeling totally dejected. It took me 2 weeks to get over it. Problems there on the 11 car.
Right in front of the two cars in second place fighting over second place. Looked like maybe a tire going down, a lot of spark going on.
Look at the gap now, 5.5 seconds for Alan McNish over Christian Klein. It's growing. It is looking positive for Audi Sport North America, but still such a long way to go. Still 20 laps in the lap here at Road Atlanta.
Werner fights back. Now he's caught back up again. I think traffic did that more than anything else.
You can see at the top of your screen, nothing has changed in P2. Still Elio Castro-Neves, Romain Dumas, Sasha Masson for the Penske Porsche squad. Marino Franchitti makes it 4 Porsches, and the best, the sole remaining Acura, is that of DeFerrin Motorsports, 8th overall, 5th in class.
Well, the gap is growing, Lee, like you said, but the problem is there is danger literally everywhere. The 11 car with some type of a problem down the front straightaway that time. Sounded like the motor wasn't running well, and if you have a car that loses an engine tonight and drops oil on the racetrack, it is near impossible to see. So are the flags on the corner, so like I said, there is danger everywhere. This one far from over.
And we go for our 10th full course caution. Make it 11, I apologize. And that is for the primetime race group, Dodge Viper. Drive shaft problem And all of a sudden, Alan McNish's 5.5-second lead evaporates.
And it plays hard into the Peugeot hand. I have to tell you that right now, because the gap being gone, the Peugeot will be able to go down the straightaway quicker. And then also you got to worry about Alan McNish's tire pickup problems during this caution.
Jamie?
Guys, I just checked in with the crew, and it is a drive shaft on that 11 car. You were absolutely right with that. Their day is done.
I saw that sparking going on from underneath there. Knew something was going.
Take another look at this replay here as he heads down the front straightaway. See the sparks from underneath. Looks like a right drive shaft just popped there. Kept that under control. Chris Hall behind the wheel, an Englishman who used to be an instructor here at the Road Atlanta Driving School, now resides down in Florida. One of the good boys in this sport. Very fast driver in his day, coming up through the ranks in England. Won about 100 Formula Ford races over the years, and just a real character.
Can you imagine racing that hard for second place at night and getting up behind one of these GT cars and having it blow up in your face like that? Those sparks are really bright when they're right in your face. Trust me, they are.
All right, Dors. It's Audi versus Peugeot. You are Marco Werner sitting behind Christian Klein. What do you do?
Well, you know, you try to get the good start, but I'm sure that's not going to be that easy to get done. I mean, for Klein, he's got the advantage now to get up behind McNish and get that run down the straightaway. The real trick, the one I'm worried about, is that with McNish on those soft tires, is he going to get all that pickup that we always hear about? Is he going to be able to keep it clean?
I think the key is going to be when they stack up behind the pace car here to see if there's any GT traffic in between McNish and Klein. That would be helpful to McNish because he'll be able to accelerate
Alan,
under this
there is
hill.
one GT2 car between you and the Peugeot.
There's your answer. That's not enough. I mean, Alan will certainly try and get a good jump here. They'll try and stack that GT car up coming down into that final chicane and accelerate up that hill. So look for Alan to really gap this pace car when we do get ready to go back to green.
And if Berger can time it right and somehow get in alongside the Peugeot or get by it, that will seal the fate, I believe.
Look at him scrubbing the tires, trying to get rid of that pickup that you're talking about, Dorsey. I spoke to Brad Kettler about this, and he said what the drivers actually do down in turn 5, for example, they'll literally give the car full lock and just get full scrub down there to try and clean those tires off.
You can turn the wheel so fast. Of course, the steering wheel's hooked to all metal things. The tire made out of rubber. The wheel turns, but the tire doesn't have time to grip, and you can get it dead sideways and scrub the heck out of it, and that's what you're talking about there, Calvin. Then you got to do burnouts to make sure that your rear tires also have clean and grippy surfaces.
Isn't it funny what happens in motorsport? If you wound back the clock several years, they were Toyota Formula One teammates. Mika Salo, Alan McNish. Here they are at Road Atlanta in the night, in the fall of 2008, leading their respective classes in Petit Le Mans. Can they convert them to respective victories? These boys certainly hope so. Speed welcomes you back to inside the final 20 laps of the 2008 Petit Le Mans here at Road Atlanta. Let's get an update on the Penske car, the 7, the championship leading car that just made a stop.
Lee just checked in with the team down here. They did that driver change. They think that they had plenty of time for Dumas to stay in the car, but Tim Cindric said, hey, if we get another long yellow, that could be a problem. So why not just go ahead and be safe, go ahead and make the change right now? And so that's what we elected to do.
And Timo Bernard being strapped in. And that was just a few moments ago. They've executed that pass. We are coming to green. And believe it or not, after all that wonderful driving and ground making, position making by Alan McNish, there has been radio reports that increased engine temperature on the one. They believe there may be something stuck in one of the ducts, one of the air intake areas. Look at McNish go here. He's had the call. He knows that he needs to run away from the Peugeot, and he is on it full.
That's what we said he'd do. Just back that GT car up and get on. Look at the lead he has over Klein, who's now cleared that GT2 car. He is second, Werner right on his tail.
McNish snookered him. He absolutely got on it well before the bridge and just ran away.
Klein could do nothing about it, though, until the green came out. That's the advantage when you're the leader. Just to clarify the Penske situation, the driver may not drive more than 7 hours or any more than 4 out of 6. That is what Tim Cindric was talking about to Brian Till. They couldn't be afraid there to go over that rule.
Boy, that was a huge jump by McNish. He wasn't even in sight of the start-finish line when he throttled up there. That could come under some scrutiny.
And do you expect any different?
No, no, absolutely not.
You would have done the same.
Oh, if I could get away with it, I would have, absolutely.
Werner is trying to run with, look at Dindo. This is Alan McNish's teammate. He too is going for 3 wins in a row here at Petit Le Mans. Werner trying to stay with Christian Klein. Trying to make life difficult for the Austrian.
McNish is in the next county. Not even.
McNish is in turn 1 as they flash across the line. 4.8 seconds on that one lap. So almost back to the gap that he had prior to the caution period.
So his only issue is that overheating problem.
This is McNish coming up on some lap traffic, gets by it. There are the other boys coming down at the top of the S's.
And 54 car they just cleared there with McNish's car.
Doubt we'll hear much on the radio. They did discuss the overheating problem with the #1 car, McNish, but I don't think they'll say much about it now because you wouldn't stop it anyway. Not this close to go.
Plus 4.8 Klein, plus 5.5 Marco.
The dulcet tones there of his engineer, Ron Mathers. Ron Mathers and Alan McNish have never worked together before, and I spoke to Brad Kettler about this. He said, I'm trying to bring the 2 languages together. He said, you got the Englishman, Ron, just talking a lot on the radio. Alan doesn't like that, as you can imagine. When you see his character, it's very short sound bites. Get on with the program. So Alan's trying to talk a little bit more, and Ron's trying to tone it down a bit.
I would say particularly at night, you wouldn't want to have a lot of chatter in your ear. You want to completely concentrate.
Christian Klein took half a second out of Alan McNish that time around. It's down to 4.2 seconds. The chase is on, the countdown is on. 15 laps remain here at Road Atlanta. Brian?
Just checked in with Brad Kettler on the temperature issue. He said, nope, we're fat, we're good. This cool weather is really helping us out. We should be good to go. Also checked in on Alan McNish's drive time because he has been in the car for quite a while today, and he said, no, we're good on that too. We should have 11 minutes or so in hand. And I said, does it matter anyway? And he said, no, we're not running for points.
Good point there. Of course, they had 3 drivers rotate through the #1 machine, so that will help out that situation a lot more. Be a lot more careful when there's just 2 like you had in the 7 car today.
That is Technical Director of Audi Sport North America, Brad Kettler. And the Peugeot boys crunching the numbers, maybe even biting their fingernails a little bit. They know the chase is on, the pressure is on. This was high on their agenda to at least win one of the big ones in 2008. The task has been made extra difficult by the determination of Audi Sport North America and in particular Alan McNish.
Lead down to 3.9, Calvin.
Well, Klein's coming after him. Some of that may be traffic, which they're going to get more into. But I'd have to say the biggest surprise of this weekend, Dorsey, is I expected the Peugeot to have a bit more of a speed advantage in terms of lap time over the Audi. A lot of people were estimating that the Peugeot could get down into the 4s in qualifying. It was a low 6 that eventually got them the pole position by less than 1/10 of a second over Alan McNish. So the times were very close indeed between these 2 camps.
Yeah, and we expected at least a second a lap difference, if not at a minimum the Peugeot to be a second a lap quicker, not to be.
Quick update on other classes. Elio Castro-Neves in the 5, the 3rd. Penske Porsche is leading the way over Timo Bernard and Sasha Masson. Marino Franchitti 4th. Simon Pagenaud for De Ferran is in the top 5. It is still Jan Magnussen in the 3, leading GT1 in the Corvette racing machine. And then it's Mika Salo, 6.2 seconds ahead of Jörg Bergmeister, who is also ahead of Dirk Muller. So things looking good for the guys going for a championship. Here is Castro-Neves, leader of the P2 class, and is 4th overall.
Easy here, plus 26.
I like to hear that.
112 is fine, 112 is fine.
At the pace, 1:12 is a good pace. That will get you to the checkered flag and get the victory. And what a day for Porsche. They currently sit 1, 2, 3, and 4, so the only Acura left is currently running 5th. This will grab them a bunch of points in the manufacturer's chase as we head to the final round at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Remember, Acura came into today with a 4-point lead. There's going to be a big swing there today. It's the leading position by each manufacturer that scores points. So Porsche will get first here tonight. Acura may end up with 5th place points.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a disaster for Acura.
Not that all 4 Porsches get points in that chase, just the leading car.
Here is Mags, Jan Magnussen, class-leading car in GT1.
No pressure there, unless, you know, you get some sort of mechanical problem.
Sister cars were having a good scrap earlier today, but a throttle problem to the fore paid to their chances. Here is Mika Salo in the 62 Risi Competizione Ferrari, who has a healthy lead, a comfortable lead over Jörg Bergmeister in second. So that's how it plays out right now in the 4 respective classes. McNish, maybe traffic has helped him because the lead margin went down to 3.7 seconds. It's now blown out by almost a full second.
I saw the very same thing. He lost a full second, the Peugeot I'm talking about. Christian Klein lost a full second to McNish, and he'd been whittling away at about 0.2 of a second per lap. Must have been traffic.
Marco Werner's hanging in there. I tell you, if Klein gets a bad lap in traffic, Marco's going to be right with him again. And that could be crucial here in the final laps. Here's McNish coming through 10B.
There is the gap. Back to second and third. It's just great for Audi to have this competition. Peugeot stepped up to the plate and said, we want to play in the big time. We feel we have superior diesel technology. We feel we can take the fight to Audi and beyond. Next year, Acura stepping up to P1 as well. This Prototype 1 class is going to be unbelievable in 2009.
Gap blows out to 6.6 seconds. Alan McNish increased the lead by nearly 2 seconds there in traffic.
As we ride with McNish, we need to squeeze in just one more commercial break. When we come back on the other side of this, we will take you to the winner's circle. We are taking you all the way to the checkered flag 2008 Petit Le Mans, round 10 of the American Le Mans Series. 8 laps to go, and there's a lead margin of 7 seconds to Alan McNish, Dindo Capello, Emanuele Pirro. The run is on, the chase is on. Can Christian Klein do it in these closing laps?
A lot of finger pointing down here, boys, as the 07 Peugeot goes by and into turn 1, and it's not the speed they're pointing at, it's the lack of brake lights that have been noticed down here. It'll be interesting to see what the officials do. These cars have to have headlights, they have to have tail lights, and it's my understanding they have to have brake lights, so it'll be interesting to see what happens to the Peugeot group.
Let's keep an eye on that.
Well, he's trying to catch up, he's not using the brakes. Right? Wrong.
You see it. Any increase in illumination there down into the chicane. You know he's got to use the brakes there. They're hitting 200 miles an hour. Take a look here down into turn 1.
Yeah, it's working.
They were. I'm not sure if that was a camera angle or whether they... Tough call. I don't think they got to let him go. I mean, this is...
So there's been a report, race control saw exactly what we did and said, as far as we're concerned, Bo Barfield and the gang race director, Bo Barfield, said, yep, we're fine with that. Might get a good look here going into 7, huh?
Yeah.
Looked different there, didn't it?
Oh, boy. Guys, just watching the Peugeot crew down here for the last 10-15 minutes, it really just looks like a sense of defeat on their faces. Drivers have come back around. Pedro Lamy down here now. Stefan Sarrazin just shaking his head. It looks like this team is just, they know they're beat.
Well, they have to make up over a second a lap for the remainder of the 6 laps, and that is not going to happen. The only thing that would happen is if Alan McNish were to go off the road or have a mechanical problem, and it's not likely to happen after his incident this morning that he'll be going off the road anytime soon.
And you've got to think about the big picture. Audi brought their current phase of sports car in the late 90s, in the early editions of the R8. They started this amazing run of domination in 2000. Then they transferred to the R10 a couple of years ago. You don't just march into town and roll over Audi Sport North America and this R10 and drivers like Dindo Capello, Emanuele Pirro, Marco Werner, Lucas Luhr, and the man behind the wheel now, Alan McNish. You just don't do that within an 18-month, 2-year period.
I figured out the brake light issue. It's a diesel. He's using the Jake brake. He's not pushing it. This guy's using his engine brake.
Less than 6 to go. We ride with our race leader. This, if he can do it, will be one of his sweetest victories.
Alan McNish has been on the radio to his crew saying, tell the corner workers to wave the blue flags. He said, I think they're so busy watching the race, they're forgetting I'm trying to get through this slower traffic, but he's doing a better job of it than the guys who are chasing him, so far so good. And I tell you what, if that Peugeot gets close to Alan McNish, I think he'll have the left side wheels in the dirt down that back straightaway. He's going to make Christian Klein go the long way around, that's for sure.
Yeah.
6.2 seconds is the margin with 5 to go.
Like I say, you have to knock off a second a lap. And how are you going to do that? Because Alan McNish is running the faster lap times.
I think Alan positioned his car perfectly when we saw Klein have that run on him. I think he gave him like half a car width, realizing he didn't want to make it super easy to switch to the right side. But Klein continued to go through it. Ron Math has given him the information. 6.2 is the gap. It's kind of stabilized around that 6-7 second mark.
That was a little bit of, hey, you may have had longer in Formula One than me, but I'll show you about sports car racing at night. Everything status quo in the other classes, folks. You haven't missed a thing. Salo still leads GT2 over Bergmeister, so that would be a Le Mans, Petit Le Mans victory. That would be a sweet way to round out 2008 for Risi Competizione with one 4-hour race to come at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. Elio Castro-Neves and Ryan Briscoe still lead P2, and Magnussen, Johnny O, and Ron Fellows still lead GT1. So nothing has changed while we're away. And let's monitor that lead margin down to 5 seconds with 4 laps to go. Is Klein putting on one last big run?
Well, you see right there McNish flashing his lights to the cars up ahead.
Oh, this is not good, losing a lot of time there through turn 6. That was probably the best part of a second right there. Here comes Klein. He'll probably clear this traffic down the straightaway. This gap is certainly tightened up.
The Peugeot is the last one in that shot. The Audi is right down there at the bottom right.
Dave Mirage, the team owner here at Champion Sport North America, walking around down here, and you can't see it, guys, because he doesn't like to be on camera. Both hands, his fingers crossed, and he will not uncross them. There you go. You can see him as he walks away. See those fingers? He's got the fingers crossed. You don't think he believes in a little bit of good luck? Dave Mirage wishing that for this victory, and he's doing everything he can think of to get it.
Well, I drove for him. I can tell you, he's superstitious as can be. I mean, he is, that's real. He's not just holding them for nothing.
3 to go now. Margin is down to 4.2 seconds. This is the closest it has been in some time.
See McNish using all of the curb there through turn 3. You heard the crunch as the chassis bottoms out there. Here, up over the curb in turn 5. Looks like he's got a bit of a break now in traffic.
There's Klein through turn 5 as well.
There's a car off to the side there.
No, that's actually a spectator car running around. That confuses you while you're in the race car, too.
2 laps to go, this time by, plus 4.2, climb.
The call from Ron Mathis just alerting Alan.
Get those blue flags waving.
And there's the request, get those blue flags waving. Last year's margin of victory, and it was Alan McNish and Dindo Capello, was less than a second.
Of course, the blue flag, what Alan's talking about, blue flag is a passing flag. It alerts the slower car that a faster car is coming up on it. Doesn't mean you have to do anything. It's just an advisory. And that was a close one with the Ferrari through turn 12.
Time check here. Let's have a look at it. 4.2 seconds last time. 4.4. It's stabilized. 2 to go.
We're going to stay with this split, I believe, on screen. And this is going to update around the lap every time they go through a timing loop. So McNish will be hearing this information. Traffic there the long way around. He's got to push it, though. You can't afford to wait now. You'll be patient through the first 9 hours or so, but not any longer.
Now with 2 to go, I mean, you throw it all on the table now.
Isn't it amazing? 1,000 miles, and it all comes down to this. Klein has taken 0.3 of a second out of McNish on this opening third of the lap.
1 lap to go, next time by, plus 4.4, climb.
For Dindo Capello and Alan McNish, their Le Mans mate, their Le Mans teammate. They drove to victory this year at Le Saf for Tom Christensen's 8th overall victory in the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Tom, TK put it on pole for the DTM race tomorrow there today. Can his two mates go to victory lane here in Petit Le Mans in one more lap's time? 2.6 miles for another victory for Pirot, Capello and McNish. Can they hang in there?
Liam needs a miracle now, Dorsey.
Yeah, and that Corvette's not the miracle he needs. It's up in front of him. He's going to catch it in turn 3. That will seal his fate, I guarantee you.
What a drive by McNish here today. He put in that tremendous triple stint right at the beginning of the race.
Last lap plus 3.7 line.
Oh, it was closer.
But it's blown out now to 4.2. Ron Matt, now it's 5. This is being updated around the track. Ronnie Mathis is just giving Alan the split at the line. It's changing around the racetrack.
A lot of traffic there ahead, though, that Alan needs to pick his way through on this final lap.
He started the race 2 laps down at one point after he pitted. He was 3 laps down. Then great strategy and fast driving got him back on that lead lap.
Think about all the drivers, all the years. Nobody has ever done Sebring, Le Mans and Petit Le Mans in the same year. Alan McNish from 2 laps down. He, Capello and Pirot have done it in the most extraordinary victory in Petit Le Mans history. Unbelievable for Audi Sport North America. 3 in a row.
So proud of you. Well done. Fantastic result.
3 in a row for Capello and McNish. Wow. How about that?
He's had some special victories, Dorsey, but this one has to rank right at the top of his list after how the day started to come through with this team and get another victory here at Petit Le Mans. The Audi reign continues.
He told Brad Ketley, you fix the car, I'll win with it. And he did so.
And there they are. All
We're so proud.
champion racing personnel with a few Audi staff sprinkled in.
Thank you.
And how about that? It's a first win for Elio Castro Neves and Ryan Briscoe at Petit Le Mans in P2.
What a week for that young man. He has been through the ringer and comes through and gets a victory.
Magnussen, Fellows, O'Connell get GT1. Mika Salo, Jamie Mello get Reese's win in GT2. Speed's coverage of the American Le Mans Series is brought to you by Audi. The truth is out, it's powerful, and it's available at your Audi dealer now. Audi, truth in engineering. And truth in victory. The German marque remains undefeated in Petit Le Mans history. Speaking of historical marks, that was the second closest winning margin at just 4.5 seconds. It truly was a team effort, as technical director at Champion Racing and Audi Sport North America, Brad Kettler, mentions to his men.
Both teams, I couldn't be prouder. This is Brad, and I also want to thank the 2-car guys that helped out this morning to make it happen. Thanks, boys.
Yes, sports car racing truly is a team effort, but you can't help but single out Alan McNish. What a performance. He's standing by with Brian Till.
Alan McNish just climbs from the #1 Audi. Alan, we were just talking, of all the races I've seen you run and win, I got to put this one up there at the very top. It's got to be special for you.
Special because of the accident before we even got to the grid. The team had to work like hell to try and get the car ready, prepared. We were 2 laps down. We came onto the lead lap, and then in the last stint, the last gasp, we managed to take the victory. It was one of the sweetest. I had tears of mine, I promise you, on the slowing down lap. It was all down to the strategy and the guys back there. All I did was pilot the beast.
Yeah, all I did was pilot it. That last stop, the fuel, the soft compound Michelin tires, and then the traffic in the end. When did you ever take a breath in that final stint? Did you ever take a breath?
I took a breath coming into the last chicane because I knew it was done and dusted by that point. But until that point, until that last heavy braking area, then it was maximum attack.
Absolutely spectacular. We talked earlier, a team effort, a true team effort. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm very proud of this one.
Superb performance. It was Emanuele Pirot's 3rd Petit Le Mans victory. It was McNish's 4th, but 3 in a row, and 5 for Capello. That's Audi's side of the story. What do the Peugeot guys think?
Well, Michel Barge is the sport director for Peugeot. Michel, the Peugeot had the speed today, but what happened in that last hour?
Well, it was very difficult with all these safety cars, and I think Audi was very quick, and with only one car in the race it was very difficult to manage two Audis, so we finished just between the two Audis, 4 seconds behind the first one. Well, we would have preferred to win the race, but I think all the team make a very good job today, and it's a very good experience for 2009 and for the race for next year.
You put Christian Klein in that last stint, who had never been to Road Atlanta before. Was that the right decision?
Oh yes, but Christian Klein is a very, very good driver, and Christian were on the track during all this weekend, and he was very fun with the car with no problem. And before it was Stéphane, and after Christian, but all the drivers worked very good, has make a very good job, and Nicolas also, and all the driver was very good today.
We switch classes to P2, and it is 3 from 3 as far as Petit Le Mans for Porsche and for Penske, but a magical moment for Briscoe and Castro Neves. Let's hear from our P2 winners.
Well, having to do a little fence climbing down here at the Penske camp. Helio Castroneves, Ryan Briscoe jumping the fence here down in the podium area. Guys, great run. All these IRL regulars here this weekend. You guys come out the victors and beat all the American Le Mans regulars.
First, I want to thank the fans for supporting me. It was a very tough week for me, but this guy here was really cool. This guy here was really, man. And I tell you, man, look at this guy. We work together. This team is awesome. Those are the champs. Those are the champs. But, oh man, this guy's awesome. A great team, and I'm so happy to be part of this organization.
Helio, obviously a very difficult week for you. How hard was it to focus on this race?
You know, what kept me pushing, what kept me smiling was the fans, you know. And this guy here as well, he was supporting me all the way through. The whole entire team, thank you so much. Listen, guys, we're going to get through this, no problem. We're going to win more races like you just won.
Well, the open wheel teammates win here at Petit.
Emotion overload, and it's 3 consecutive Petit Le Mans victories for Penske and Porsche. And as you heard Helio Castroneves mention, Dumas and Bernard are the champions again. Let's hear from the guys in P2.
Well, more champions down here in victory lane. Romain Dumas, Timo Bernhard. For you guys, not only do you repeat the victory here, but you repeat your championship. How special is that, Romain?
Well, you know, before the start, I think we cannot expect a kind of race, and after 2 hours already, so many crash, and unfortunately for the Patron car was in a wall, and wow, we said it's possible we can win today, but you know, between try to win the race or try to win the championships, at the end we decide we play very safe, and we are so happy. I think Timo made again a great job this year. We won again, and that's the main target.
Repeat the championship, but Timo, for you, a Porsche driver, you are the longest tenured Porsche driver that we have over here. That manufacturer's championship, I believe, still at stake. How important is that for you guys as you head to Laguna Seca?
Well, for sure, we have one race still ahead, and we want to win. Now that we clinched the driver's title, we can really be free for the last race. But again, I have to thank Penske Racing, I have to thank my teammate Romain, I have to thank Porsche. I mean, it was really a tremendous year, and I can't believe that we achieved it already, one race before the end.
Well, congratulations, guys.
Yeah, we do congratulate the Penske boys, but we should make a little footnote there that remember that Highcroft Racing put in that protest earlier today. What we will know is that it will all come out in the wash in between now and Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca. So wonderful action there in the prototypes. And of course, we have to talk about Green Challenge on the prototype side of things. And again, we congratulate Penske Racing because the 6 came out on top in the Green Challenge over the 5. And then a P1 Audi car came in 3rd. Let's hear from our Green Challenge prototype winners.
Patrick Long, a P2 podium, but victorious in the Green Challenge for the prototypes. Was that the goal coming into the race today?
Well, the goal was the win. That was always #1, getting the championship for the 7 car. But this is a big bonus to have the Green Challenge, the inaugural race, and to sew that up. Porsche works a lot with their, engine management, getting as much power as we can and fuel mileage, and doing what we can for the environment.
The fuel mileage certainly worked out today, guys.
Jamie, it most certainly did. 2nd race win in the American Le Mans Series for the 2007 champions. Jamie Mello, Mika Salo, and they did what they set out to do, and that is win the 24 Hours of Le Mans and Petit Le Mans. How do our race winners feel about this one?
Well, it's the guys who won the 24-hour Le Mans get the victory at Petit Le Mans, and it wasn't easy. You guys had the debris caught underneath the throttle, went 2 laps down, but you fought hard.
Just never give up. Luckily, we found the problem because it was quite alarming. We just lost it for a while, and it's a little bit scary to drive, and throttle was sticking open sometimes, and we decided to stop once more just for safety, and the guys found the piece behind the throttle pedal, and it was cured. So we were quickest all day, so we deserved this.
Jamie, when you went down 2 laps, was there any point in time you guys felt like you just had to give up?
Like I say always, I never give up. So I got in the car, I just tried to do my best, and we double steamed the tires, and so I could keep up really well. So I just do my best. I think the car was working really well. Thank you for the whole team. Mission also was great. Thank you. What an amazing victory. Thank you.
Well, they've had a tough season over here, but they come away with the victory at Road Atlanta.
And they openly acknowledged that the championship was not in their reach this year. However, they were going after significant race wins. We talk points in GT2 and have a look at that. The boys from Flying Lizard have put it beyond doubt. Are they celebrating? Let's find out.
Well, Jörg, you won this race 5 years in a row, but you don't come away with the victory this year, but you get the GT2 championship.
Yeah, absolutely great for Flying Lizard. They got their first championship. We're all really happy. Of course, we would have liked to win today, but the Ferrari was just a tiny bit too quick. In the night conditions, our car was really hooked up again and did the quickest lap time there, but at the end, we missed it by 2.3 seconds.
Bergmeister wins 3 GT2 championships in 4 years. We change gears to GT1 and take a look at the points there. Magnussen, O'Connell over their teammates Gavin and Beretta. What a year it has been for Jan and Johnny. Tremendous stuff. And for those guys to go all the way to the winner's circle here at Road Atlanta. Let's hear from them.
Jan Magnussen, Johnny O'Connell clinching the GT1 championship, 8th win of the season, but this is your final Petit Le Mans in GT1. Is it a little bittersweet?
Yeah, it's perfect. I'm so happy for everybody involved with this, especially Dan Binks, who's worked so hard the whole year to give us a great car at every race. So I'm happy for Johnny too. He's an old man. He needs some championships.
In addition to winning the race today, you also won the Green Challenge. That was Corvette's plan all along. Did you see it coming together the way it did?
Well, you know what? We tried to be as, conscientious with the throttle and everything that we could. But you know what? Just pushed as hard as we could. You know, you got to thank the crew, everybody at E85 for the support that they've given us this year, CompuAir, and Chevrolet. I mean, Chevrolet builds more cars that gets over 30 miles a gallon than anybody, and all their flex fuel vehicles. So it's appropriate that we do win this award. And you know what? You got to thank Ron Fellows, too, coming back in and getting another Petit Le Mans.
For the 3 guys in the number 3 car, it's a win-win situation.
Lovely to see those big smiles from the boys who worked so hard. Hey, we've dealt with prototypes. Let's go to GT now. As far as the Green Challenge is concerned, and you heard Jamie mention there and Johnny and the boys, the 3 Corvette came out on top. The 007 Drayson Barwell machine did actually finish a little bit better, as you can see the score on the right-hand side, but the car did not finish the race, so it was relegated to 2nd place. But a lot to talk about, a lot to take from this year's Petit Le Mans and the Green Challenge. I turn to Dorsey Schrader and Calvin Fish. Final thoughts. Boy, there is so much to talk about, Dors.
This was a great race, no question about it. It was interrupted by 11 yellow flags. The outright speed of these cars is awesome. There's no question about it. I think it's going to have to, the track's going to have to readdress the way they look at their safety with the cars able to run the speeds they are in the corners, because these guys are really hauling. We had 11 big, caution periods. Luckily, everybody came out nice, but, these cars going this fast like this, we're going to have to look at things real close.
Was it what you expected? And with your history in racing, are you blown away by Alan McNish's performance and the whole Audi organization?
Yes, that was a fantastic effort. The fact that McNish made the mistake was really made us aghast at the beginning. They fixed that car within 2 laps. They only went down 2. But McNish, at the end, when he put it in, and he said to Brad Kettler, he goes, "You fix my car, I'll win this. I'll pay you back. I'll win the race." I don't think he could do it. I really didn't. But he did. He thought he could do it, and by God, he did do it.
Thank you, mate. Thank you for your thoughts and your effort today. Calvin Fish, take it away.
Well, I think Audi's execution of the event was just magnificent, and watching Alan McNish on maximum attack, that is just a joy. A very special race, but I think the biggest disappointment today was the performance for the number 9 Highcroft Patron team. I mean, Scotty Sharp had that incident early in the race, took them out of the running, no points scored, and then Penske coming through with a 1-2-3 finish. That is superb, and the week that Elio Castroneves has had off the racetrack to come back and get a victory here tonight, that has to be a special moment for him. Some scary crashes out there. 48, Stefan Johansson had some kind of suspension failure, stuffed it straight in here down in turn 12. That was scary. And then the big one when Georges Fauchois lost the car under the bridge, and then Pilet had nowhere to go, and then that wrapped up Frank Montagny. Lucky that everyone walked away from that one, Lee.
And as everybody celebrates, so that is the key point, that everybody was able to walk away and no one injured. I want to remind you about qualifying from Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, the Monterey Sports Car Championships, the final round of the American Le Mans Series, live on speedtv.com, streaming live Friday, October 17. We click over to the next day, which will be race day, but a day after that, with our friends on NBC Sports, they will bring you the final round of the American Le Mans Series. Coming up next here on Speed, it is NASCAR Performance. We are so pleased that you are with us today for the final race on Speed of the American Le Mans Series in 2008. And how about that performance from Audi and Alan McNish and his men? On behalf of the entire Speed team, thanks for watching. This has been Sports Cars on Speed.